Hi everyone, we're at the World of Warcraft Legion Cafe in Cologne that's open during Gamescom. It's the opening night of this very large Warcraft themed party, and I think, Christian, you feel right at home here, right? Uh, we're gonna talk about our highlights of the day. I'm sorry, I'm just kidding you. You're not a fancy guy. You're feeling awkward here.
Yeah, I'm not a PC player, to be honest, for most extent. So let's just talk about PlayStation VR from my end, because that's what really got me today. I played a little by accident the PlayStation VR Battlefront demo at EA, and this actually been done by Criterion. Turned out to be a lot better than I expected it to be. They really got a nice job of sort of nailing how people could have a first experience with VR without it being too much for your brain, because flying can be really complicated, and this actually never ever gave you sort of a strange feeling. So it's like really for people who want to get into it. It feels completely Star Wars. You're flying an X-Wing, and you can like look around, and there's R2 behind you. He's making the noises, and it's like that's a really cool feeling, just turning around and seeing R2 there, and then you're like flying through the sky, seeing patrolling fleets, and then shooting TIE fighters. Really cool. And then the guy from Criterion, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I just do. He said that they're thinking about adding a pro mode, so you can actually switch off this sort of barrier and enable it so you can roll the fighters, and this probably gets a little more to your stomach.
It's a vomit simulator then by that time.
Yeah, maybe.
So Jonathan, what was your highlight of the day?
I think the first one was a small game called The Bunker, which was really a live action, almost like a movie. Everything was filmed, and then it was sort of a point-and-click adventure. But it really stood out to me as something different in trying to tell a story in a video game. It was a guy stuck in a bunker after some kind of nuclear war, and every other survivor had died, and his mother had just died. And he had to go through the same routine day in and day out. And it was, I think it was an actor from The Hobbit who played the main guy. We didn't get to see too much of it, but it was really intriguing, I think. That stood out to me. And then I got to try a multiplayer mode in Watch Dogs 2, which was really fun. It was the bounty. It felt very much like Grand Theft Auto or something like that. Cops chasing villains and stuff like that. But it was really chaotic and really fun, and I think it's going to be good when it comes out. So
you played that too as well?
Yeah, I did play that, and I'm in the same camp. I quite like the way that was integrated, like the idea of having it completely seamless, and people can sort of opt in to enter a game. So you sort of like predefine if you want to enter some game from some random person, and then they sort of shove you in the game, and you get to chase them, and it felt kind of cool. And also, I especially like what they're doing with Watch Dogs, giving it a lot more polish. It feels a lot more like spot on compared to the first Watch Dogs, which I personally liked more than probably many other people. But I think with this one, they're really getting where everybody else expected them to be with the first game, sort of.
Interesting. Now, you both sort of talked about 2 games each, and I want to be the worst. I want to have the most, so I'm going to talk about 3 games that I saw. I saw a game called Little Nightmares. I got the bag here. No, that's not the bag. This is the bag. It's a game from Tarsier Studios who did a little bit Big Planet Vita. I think they're mostly known for. It's a little sort of like a creepy version of Unravel, if you will. You're this little girl who's stuck inside some underwater thing called the Maw, and trying to get through from room to room. It's very stealthy. You don't have any attacks, anything like that, and you're trying to progress through little puzzles and things like that. And then it had a great atmosphere, and for instance, there was a lot of these. There was this area with a chef, and he had a lot of meats, and just the attention to detail of what it sounds like when meat hits the floor was amazing. Just that, and it's just a weird, creepy little game that I saw. Another game that's creepy and weird is Torment: Tides of Numenera. I saw a demo of that. Looks very cool. I don't want to spoil anything or anything like that, but there's some freaky stuff there for sure. Of course, the spiritual successor to Planescape Torment. And finally, what was it more that I wanted to talk about? Did I say what I wanted to?
Was there anything? I have more stuff.
Have you have more stuff? Okay. If you say something else, I'll just check my phone.
Okay. I had the pleasure to be invited to a secret sort of preview presentation for the new Konami game that eventually turned out to be Metal Gear Survive, and which is actually Metal Gear coming back without that person we cannot talk about in connection with Konami. You all know. And then they had this presentation where they were showing the trailer, and then a presentation afterwards where we were not allowed to ask any questions, so we ended up seeing 5 slides with the same information that was in the trailer, and then the thing was gone. So that was like sort of like getting an email personally delivered to you in a booth together with somebody from America, kind of thing. But obey this strange situation.
Even worse, because you can't just copy paste the information and put it up.
Yeah, that's very true. With no internet at the fair, also not possible. But it's still good that they're sort of sticking to doing something with Metal Gear and that the franchise is not lost, even though it's
too bad they're taking the inspiration from Capcom, what Capcom are doing with Resident Evil, Umbrella Corps, and that sort of thing. Maybe they should do something else.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I didn't quite get the concept. It's supposed to be a 4-player co-op survival kind of shooter with some guys who got lost when Mother Base collapsed in Ground Zeroes, and then some wormhole appear and sucks them into a different kind of dimension, and that's where they lost me.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey, Metal Gear is back somehow.
Yeah. Yeah, and maybe that's the positive spin on it, that they are doing something. But I totally forgot, blanked about, was of course Yooka-Laylee. You're seeing that tomorrow, so I shouldn't spoil much for you. The spiritual successor to Banjo-Kazooie, I guess you could say. We'll get to play it some, about 20 minutes or so. The first level of the game, it is good. It's still not 100% polished. Like I think they could do some work with the camera, things like that. But what struck me was that there's just a wealth of moves you can pull off with the character duo, and there's so much character in that game. There's so much. Every dialogue is like, it's like they've really taken the care and attention to every little dialogue. There was a cart, like a mining cart, who called himself Kratos, and Laylee, I think it was, commented, "So I guess you're the god of ore." So it's that kind of humor they're going for. So very much sort of tongue-in-cheek video game references, that sort of thing. Some of it may be for a little bit older players, and some of it for the new younger players to catch on to as well. But it's nice to see that kind of game come back. Have you thought of anything more that you wanna add?
No, we got to try Injustice 2 as well. It seemed really fun. I don't know if I really like that sort of really brutal combat mixed with these comic characters. It seems like a little odd to me still, but
there's no fatalities though.
No, but it seems like they really want them, but they can't really make them. So it's, but they have some really cool moves, extreme moves. We got to see. So I think I'm gonna check that out when it comes out. But yeah.
And I think we're all out of time. Once again, we're at the Legion Cafe here in Cologne, and we're signing off from day 1 of Gamescom. Many more days to come. We're barely holding up as it is, but you can catch all the content on Gamereactor, GRTV, all the usual channels all over the place. Thank you so much for tuning in.